Thanksgiving at the Knox home. Golden light, laughter, and a long table crowded with relatives. Inside, the celebration was already roaring. Crystal glasses raised, turkey carved, children squealing. In the corner, the kids' table sat low to the floor, one flimsy chair conspicuously empty.
Oh, Sarah, you are late. And in those clothes. Never mind, we saved you a seat. Sit at the kids' table. You never figured your life out. It's where you belong.
Careful, Mom. She might take your advice and start a coloring book business.
Oh, the poor thing. Sarah, if you ever need someone to talk to about your situation.
Sarah didn't flinch. She folded herself into the child-sized chair and became very still. Her face was stone, but behind her eyes, something flickered, a secret the room couldn't imagine. From above, the room told the story. The feast, the outcast, and no one saw what was coming.
To Michael, my brilliant son, who makes every Thanksgiving brighter.
And to Sarah, who proves that the kids' table still accepts 40-year-old applications.
It's just so hard to watch. She had so much potential.
If only they knew the weight of the orders I've signed.
Out of sight, her knuckles cracked white, the only betrayal of the battle raging behind her calm.
Sarah, if you'd applied yourself, you'd have something to show. Anything.
I am happy for him, Mother.
She's happy. That's the most ambition she's shown all year.
Flashes of a war room, a sealed order, the grim nod of a 4-star. Then the clink of a spoon brought her back, and she sat, and she waited. Because the night was young, and the reckoning was not yet here. The talk turned to Michael's latest venture, a merger that had the room buzzing with admiration.
Signed it over a single lunch. The old guard never saw it coming.
Sarah, is that little office job still keeping you busy? It can't be demanding much.
Keeps me steady. Last month, I stood before the Joint Chiefs. They called my plan brilliant.
Under the table, her palm pressed flat against her knee, a silent anchor against the tide of scorn.
It's just so brave of you to keep showing up. I am sure it means something to someone.
Brave. More like stubborn. She'll be taking orders from toddlers next.
Not yet. The moment hasn't arrived. Patience is a weapon they don't understand.
The gravy was cold, the stuffing tasted like cardboard, and Sarah's stillness became its own kind of refusal. Patricia set down her wine glass, a cruel edge sharpening her smile.
We just want to help you, dear. You can't seem to help yourself.
The general in her wanted to stand and end this, but the soldier in her waited.
Then, through the chatter, a low rumble, tires on gravel, deliberate and heavy. The table went quiet. Michael's fork froze midair. All eyes turned toward the window. A black government SUV rolled to a stop in the driveway, its engine a predator's hum.
What the hell is that? Is someone getting a parking ticket in a tank?
Oh my. Is everything all right? That looks official.
Sarah's expression didn't change, but something behind her eyes sharpened. Recognition, and a strange calm. The dinner was over. They just didn't know it yet. The front door swung open without a knock, and Major Carter stepped into the foyer, uniform immaculate, briefcase in hand.
General Knox, I am Major Carter. The chairman needs your authorization on a matter of national security. Acknowledged, Major. Give me a moment.
She rose from the child-sized plastic chair with a fluid, commanding authority that made the nearest guests hold their breath. Patricia forced a laugh, high and strained, the sound of a woman refusing to believe.
Oh, it's some joke from her little office job. The mailroom must have a drama club.
Michael attempted a smirk, but it faltered under the Major's unblinking stare.
Let them think it's a charade. The truth will break their illusions soon enough.
She walked past the frozen family, Major Carter at her heels, and vanished into the side hall. The aide stood guard at the hallway door, arms rigid behind his back, a silent sentinel that declared the unthinkable had arrived. The Major clicked open the briefcase and handed Sarah a phone whose screen pulsed with a red alert light. Her hand closed around the device, and the transformation was instant. Shoulders squared, jaw set, every inch a commander.
Knox speaking. Authentication code Alpha 7 Niner. I copy, Chairman. Stand by for my authorization.
This is absurd. She probably hired an actor from the community theater.
Maybe it's a mistaken identity. The real general is hiding somewhere, laughing at us.
I don't know. That uniform looked authentic. I am frightened.
Sarah's gaze flickered over the classified display, her mind already 3 moves ahead of the crisis.
Understood, sir. I'll have Major Carter prepare. ETA is 15 minutes.
She handed the phone back, and the Major snapped to attention, awaiting his next command.
No, Major. Let them wonder. The chairman will make the introductions.
Sarah walked back into the dining room, her stride now carrying the weight of the approaching storm.
Stay in this room. No one leaves.
She turned and strode toward the front door, her silhouette sharp against the evening light, spilling through the glass. Outside, 3 more black SUVs rolled silently into the driveway, American flags fluttering from the fenders. The family pressed against the windows, faces pale, their breath fogging the glass. Patricia's hand flew to her chest, her mouth opening in a soundless gasp.
That's a 4-star flag on the lead car. This isn't a joke.
Oh dear God. It's true. She really is.
The lead SUV's door swung open, and a tall figure in immaculate dress blues stepped into the twilight. General Maxwell Thornton removed his cover and began the long walk to the door, each step a pronouncement. The front door opened, and General Thornton stepped inside, his uniform immaculate, every inch the living embodiment of American military might. The family stumbled backward, pressing into the walls as if the floor had tilted. Patricia's hand rose to her throat, her lips moving in a silent prayer of denial. He removed his cover and set it on the hall table, a deliberate, thunderous punctuation. Then he walked directly towards Sarah, his path cleaving the room into before and after.
The time for silence is over.
The air calcified, the guests, the feast, the family's scorn, all rendered trivial by his presence. He stopped 3 feet away and snapped his heels together, his right hand starting its sharp ascent. The family's breath vanished. The world compressed into that rising palm, in that suspended heartbeat. The Knox Thanksgiving became a sacrificial altar.
General Knox, the architect of Operation Silver Veil. The Joint Chiefs require your authorization on a matter of national security.
Without hesitation, Sarah returned the salute, her hand snapping up in a mirror of his.
You honor me, sir. Let's proceed.
Behind them, Patricia's knees buckled. She crumpled into a dining chair, her hand pressed over her mouth. Michael's wine glass slid from his grip and shattered on the floor, a dark stain spreading beneath him. The guests stood paralyzed, forks halfway to mouths, their faces carved from pure shock.
It's real. It's all real.
I need the room cleared. Family, you'll wait in the dining room.
The chairman gestured, and the family found themselves herded aside by an invisible force, shame. In that heartbeat, Sarah Knox was no longer their failure. She was the commanding presence they had denied for a lifetime. The chairman opened a slim briefcase and withdrew a manila folder striped with red classification bands.
Your authorization, General? The operation is ready for execution.
Sarah took the pen without pause. The room held its breath as the nib touched paper. Patricia tried to speak, but the chairman's glare reduced her voice to a croak. The signature was swift, sharp, authoritative. A general's mark. She handed the folder back. The chairman accepted it with a nod of profound respect.
Operation Silver Veil is a go. The nation owes you, General.
Sarah straightened, her eyes never meeting her family's, as if they had become strangers in a stranger's house. The chairman signaled to Major Carter, and the moment of official duty was complete. In the dining room, the Knox family remained frozen, their Thanksgiving reduced to a shattered relic. The silence in the dining room was a living thing, heavy and unbreakable, until Patricia's voice shattered it.
Sarah, wait. Please, we never imagined. You should have told us.
Margaret's sobs became a torrent, her floral dress heaving, her handkerchief a wet rag.
It was all just sibling stuff. You know how it is, right? Right?
Sarah turned, and they saw nothing in her eyes. No anger, No forgiveness. Only distance.
They had a lifetime to see me. They chose a lie.
The chairman stepped forward, a human bulwark of authority, planting himself between mother and daughter.
The general is not to be detained. You will step back.
She turned her back on them, and the sound of her footsteps was the closing of a final door. The Knox family stood in the wreckage of Thanksgiving, knowing they had become strangers to their own blood.
You can't just leave. We are your family.
We only wanted the best for you. You know that?
I'll make it right, I swear. Just tell me what to do.
And for one suspended heartbeat, Sarah stopped. The family's pleas evaporated in the inch of air between them.
Their love was always conditional. I owe them nothing.
Then she walked on, her pace even, her shoulders square, her silence the most devastating answer. The chairman reached past her, his hand gripping the brass knob, and pulled the door wide. A rush of cold autumn air swept in, carrying the scent of wet leaves and departing justice.
After you, General.
And without a backward glance, the youngest two-star general in Pentagon history crossed the threshold, leaving the past behind. The Knox family spilled out onto the porch, gasping in the cold air as if chasing a ghost.
Sarah, for God's sake, we are your blood.
Sarah walked across the lawn with the chairman and Major Carter, a procession of unbreakable purpose. Without hesitating, she stepped into the vehicle, her civilian clothes a stark contrast to the uniforms around her. She didn't look at the house. She didn't look at them. Her eyes were fixed ahead, on the duty that called. The heavy door thunked shut, sealing away the sound of her mother's cries. The motorcade began to move, a sleek black serpent, sliding away from the shattered home. Patricia's knees gave out, and she sank against the porch railing, a woman hollowed out by her own cruelty. Michael stood frozen in the doorway, his face a mask of dawning comprehension. He had lost far more than a dinner guest. The red taillights dissolved into the autumn dusk, and with them, the last chance for reconciliation. The porch became a stage of ruin as the Knox family stood rooted, watching nothing.
I put her at the children's table. My God, what have I done?
Michael sank onto the cold steps, his head dropping into his hands, the sharp scent of broken glass and spilled wine still clinging to the air.
She's a general, and I called her a joke. I called my sister a joke.
Inside, the guests remained frozen, their hushed whispers like a jury delivering a verdict. Through the window, the kids' table sat in the corner, the little plastic chair still pushed back, Sarah's untouched plate, a silent indictment. The grand Thanksgiving table stood untouched, the turkey cooling, the candles guttering low, a monument to what they had destroyed. The ruins of the dinner mirrored the ruin of the family. Cold, congealing, and irreparable rose from Lischen strangely.
She'll never come back. We've lost her forever.
And the little empty chair at the kids' table, once a throne of scorn, was now the heaviest seat in the house. Inside, the guests began to stir, their hushed voices a courtroom gallery passing silent judgment on the Knox name. A neighbor reached toward Patricia, but she slapped the hand away, her composure shattered into jagged pride. Michael remained at the table, staring at the empty space where the classified folder had lain, a ghost only he could see. A guest bent down and gathered the shards of the broken wine glass, the delicate clinking the only sound in the hush. Margaret's sobbing had become a low keening, her handkerchief shredded, as other women surrounded her in silent horror. On the wall, the Knox family portrait hung askew, the glass cracked, a perfect mirror of the family it depicted. A small photo of teenage Sarah, once overlooked on a dusty shelf, now seemed to accuse them all from the shadows.
Don't touch me. I don't deserve comfort.
She was the hero. I was the joke.
The Thanksgiving that was meant to celebrate their son had become the funeral of their family. Patricia retreated inside, picked up the cracked family portrait, her hands shaking as the glass bit into her skin.
I raised a hero, and I called her a disappointment.
Nearby, Michael's tablet lit with a breaking news headline that made his breath catch. Operation Silver Veil. Joint Chiefs commend unnamed two-star general for preventing massive cyber attack.
The architect, that's what he called her. It's Sarah. It's my sister. Mom, look, she's the one. Operation Silver Veil. It was her.
Patricia stared at the words, her mouth forming the name of the operation that would now define her daughter. and her failure.
She was saving the country while I was mocking where she sat.
The door to the outside world had closed, and inside the house, the family understood it would never open for them again. All that remained was the cold turkey, the guttering candles, and the unbearable silence of what they had destroyed. The Pentagon rose against a pale November dawn, its limestone walls catching the first light. Inside the hushed corridors, General Sarah Knox walked in full uniform, her silver stars gleaming.
Silver Veil was a masterpiece of deterrence. The president asked me to convey his gratitude.
The team executed flawlessly. I merely signed the order, sir.
They passed a tall mirror, and for a brief instant she met her own eyes, the general she had become.
This is where I was always meant to be. The rest was noise.
She didn't pause. Her stride never faltered as they turned toward the secure operations wing.
The Joint Chiefs have asked if you are ready for the next assignment. It won't be easy.
I am always ready, Mr. Chairman. You know that.
And she walked on, unencumbered, into the heart of her purpose, leaving the wreckage of Thanksgiving far behind. The Knox house fell into an unnatural stillness, the kind that follows a cataclysm. In the corner, the little plastic chair sat empty, its humiliation now a monument to their blindness. Where Sarah once sat in forced shame, there now lingered only the echo of a command that far outranked them all. The turkey congealed on its platter, the stuffing hardened into regret. No one cleared the plates, no one spoke. The house itself seemed to hold its breath in judgment. And that was the last Thanksgiving. Sarah Knox never spoke to her mother again. The child's seat she was forced to occupy became the throne of her liberation, and they were left to stare at its emptiness. The Knox family had built their pride on a lie, and the truth had walked out the door in a civilian sweater and never looked back. All that remained was the silence, the echo of a salute, and a seat that would stay forever vacant. The long dining table stood frozen in disgrace, its bounty untouched. A wine glass lay shattered on the floor, its dark stain spread like an accusation. The centerpiece had wilted, its petals drooping over cold gravy boats. Chairs remained pushed back at odd angles, the frantic exit of the guests still echoing. And in the corner, the kids' table held its silence, the tiny chair a quiet indictment. A few crayons remained on the plastic surface, testimony to innocence that had been replaced by cruelty. From above, the scene was brutal in its geometry. The full adult table and the solitary child's chair, worlds apart. No one would clear this table tonight. No one could bear to touch what they had broken. The chair itself had become a throne of consequence, the seat of a verdict delivered without a word. And in that stillness, the Knox family's Thanksgiving became a memory they would spend a lifetime trying to forget. Far from the Knox home, Sarah stepped onto a high balcony, the Capitol dome glowing in the distance. Her reflection caught in the glass, and the face staring back was no longer the one seated at a child's table.
The weight has lifted. I am exactly where I was always meant to be.
She didn't need their apologies. The silence that followed her exit had already spoken louder than any words. A faint, serene smile touched her lips, the first that had been honest in years. Through the glass behind her, the operations center buzzed with the next mission, the next urgent cause. She turned from the balcony, her back to the panoramic view, and walked inside without a backward glance. As she moved through the corridor, the city lights streamed past windows, a river of motion carrying her forward. Her face, reflected one last time in the glass, held no regret, only a steady, irrevocable peace. General Sarah Knox had come home, not to the house that scorned her, but to the life she had earned. Weeks later, the Knox house held a deeper silence. Patricia sat alone at the dining table, her back to the world. In her hands lay a thick envelope, unopened, the return address from the Pentagon, General Knox's office.
She sent my letter back unopened. There will be no forgiveness.
Her fingers traced the unbroken seal. No words would ever pass between them again. She lifted her gaze to the corner where the kids' table still stood, the little chair untouched. The chair was empty, but it seemed to accuse her, a ghost of her cruelty made solid. A tear welled, then slipped down her cheek, the first she had allowed in decades. She let it fall onto the envelope, leaving a small, dark stain on her daughter's name. The silence grew, filling the room, the house, the hollow space where a family used to be, and the little chair remained, a throne of loss, as the tear dried and the light faded. The weeks passed quietly, and the Knox house settled into a permanent stillness, a museum of silence and regret. Across the Potomac, the Pentagon hummed with purpose, its daily rhythm wholly indifferent to the shattered family in the suburbs. In a secure vault, Sarah's signature lay on the classified order, the ink now dry, authorizing the nation's next great defense. The house on Maple Street shrank into obscurity, its windows dark, its driveway never again graced by the flags of state. In the corner, the little chair caught the last slant of afternoon light, a silent sentinel of a daughter's absence. Inside the Pentagon, General Knox walked with a quiet authority, the same stillness that her family had once mocked. That signature, bold and irrevocable, unlocked operations that would safeguard millions. The porch where Patricia had collapsed was swept clean by the wind, erasing even the echo of her cries. Only the little chair endured, an empty throne in a room heavy with the weight of lost love. Some tables are better left empty.